Hello, bright and shiny beacons of light. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. Off camera here this evening, off camera in the mysterious background, but on the chat room running everything is Jessica Lee. So welcome, so glad you could join us here this evening. We are going to have so much fun helping you discover your superpowers and change your perspective. So this weekend, I want to tell you about this weekend, then we're going to dive into everything. Was truly a game changer for us. We've had coaches in training for quite a while. We flew them out here. We flew them. They flew themselves out here to Colorado for a weekend retreat, classes, graduation, little soiree, and we held everything at this magnificent lodge behind a 14,000 or technically 13,900 and some odd feet, Mount Sopris out here by Basalt, Colorado. Was a fantastic event. And it really challenged all of us and got ourselves out of our comfort zone. And the funny thing is, when you're out of your comfort zone or when you're seeing the world from a new perspective, when your perspective changes, so does your outcome, and so do you. Or put another way, as Wayne Dyer used to say, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. In this case, it was the trainees coming into us rather than us being on Zoom, and it was us holding our first retreat. It's kind of wild. We've been running this show for 4 years now. We speak to hundreds of thousands of people pretty much daily, and this was our first retreat. It was a blast, or as I like to say, it was a hoot. It was challenging. It was exhausting for Jessica, who put the whole thing together, and we learned it's too much for any one person to put the whole thing together. A huge bow down to you here for putting the whole thing together. And it was truly miraculous. We had a double rainbow on Saturday evening that lasted for a good hour, not just for our crew, although we'd like to think it was, but for the whole valley. And that evening, Friday evening, we even had a bear come to visit. And more on the bear in a minute. So before we do that, I want to give you I want to give you a little bit of housekeeping or things of that sort. First off, we must apologize. Last week, we said that we were almost completely full with coaching for the summer, which is true, and that we had just a few slots left for free strategy sessions with me, which is true. And then we had you come on over and book. And our scheduling system sort of ate, we have record of it, but ate everybody who signed up. So we haven't gotten back to anybody. So our apologies if over the last couple of weeks you've reached out at inspirenationshow.com/coaching and you haven't heard from us. We've just found that the scheduling system was eating everybody's request. We are on top of it. Jessica is working like crazy and I'm assisting her to help get in touch with everybody. So what does this mean? First off, if you reached back out, we are doing our best to get back in touch. And secondly, because we haven't had those spots filled yet, it means we have a few spots open, which is really surprising because once we get into August, our coaching system goes into overdrive. And last year, I think we filled in August for the rest of the year. So if you're interested in coaching, you need to come on over to inspirenationshow.com/coaching pretty much today and sign up for a free one-on-one strategy session with me, specifically if you're interested in coaching with me. So with that said, our meditations program, we've still been adding 2 to 3 new shows or meditations a week. We're growing the world's largest meditation vault. Is just about ready for prime time. And we're going to be starting a soft launch in just a few weeks. So if you want to find out more, if you want to be on the top of the list to get meditations from myself, from Jessica, and from many, many, many of the top guests who have been on the show, and certainly your favorite guests, then come on over to inspirenationshow.com. Sign up for the newsletter there. We've had over 1,000 guests on the show. 1,000 guests. And so we have so many meditations from so many phenomenal guests that we're going to be offering to you through our meditations. With that said, we are 100% supported by you, our audience. So if you love the show, if you want to support us, if you want to help us going strong, you can come on over to patreon.com, patreon.com/Inspire Nation. We put up lots of free stuff, tidbits, tools, photos. I want to get some of these rainbow photos and the bear video. I should get the bear video up there in the next few days. It's a way to become a part of the Inspire Nation family and help support the show. Of course, if you're listening to this, you can also make a donation. I have no idea how, but there is a button on YouTube as well. So with that said, this was our first retreat this weekend. It was so exciting to have people come out and work with Jessica and myself in person. It's one thing to be talking with you on YouTube. It's another thing to be talking with people on iTunes, which is even maybe one more step removed. With our coaches in training, it was cool to see everybody on Zoom. But to have people there in person, that was cool. And it was actually a little bit scary because we hadn't done it before. Now, we've held clinics all across the country and in Southeast Asia, so arguably you could say all around the world, before we even started Inspire Nation. But this was something new and different and way outside our comfort zone. And so tonight, I want to talk about changing your perspective to discover your superpowers. And the first thing is to get out of your comfort zone, or specifically, to get outside of where you've been looking before. So if you lived your whole life in your hometown, get out of your town, get out of your state, get out of your country. If you've done things always one way, see if you can do them completely a new way. For ourselves, being a retreat, our first retreat, everything was new. It challenged us in so many different ways, but that helps us to step back and look at the world a different way. In other words, from almost a childlike eyes, or from completely new eyes. You don't discover your superpowers. You don't discover your superpowers from where you've already looked. You have to go someplace new. Or as Einstein says, you can't solve a problem from the same level of energy from which it was created. So put yourself out there, get someplace new, get involved in something new. Almost anything new will help give you a change of perspective. That's number one, something new. Number two, get out of your comfort zone. Our coaches were coming in from around the country and from Canada too, and they were challenged. They were challenged in coaching situations and asking them questions, many different ways. We challenged them to learn, to grow, and to be able to step back. What you'll find is the greatest learnings never come on the couch. They come when you're tested, and they come when you're stretched far outside your comfort zone. So stretch yourself, challenge yourself. It could be putting yourself in a running race this summer. It could be taking a class that we'll be talking about more. It could be training for something, or maybe something entirely different. It could be a volunteer program. It could be sending yourself to India. But make sure that you're challenging yourself, because it's when we're challenged, it's when we're put under pressure that the coal becomes the diamond. And yes, you are the diamond. Number three, it comes by discovering what you're passionate about. Over time, our coaches in training discovered they were passionate about helping others. They were passionate about coaching. That lit them up. That made them on fire. Jessica, we've been learning, her passion right now is watercolors. The more that we get her diving into watercolors, the stronger and more excited and more energy she has for everything. It's so important to understand. We often think, I don't have time. I'll speak to my life. I don't have time to ride my bicycle. I don't have time to skate. I don't have time to run. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. The truth of the matter is we don't have time not to do the things that give us the juice. We don't have time not to do the things that open up or inspire us or make our heart shine bright. That's where our superpowers come from. It doesn't have to be your work. If you find fulfillment outside of your work, then you can be of even greater service. And we are all in service, no matter what our job is. We are all in service to others. We are all in service to humanity. We are all in service to this planet. When we tap into our heart and what we're passionate and excited about, even outside of work, we carry that forward into whatever we do. So you don't have to say, well, I'm told to do what you love, and if not, well, then you're not living your full life, then you're not going to be happy, you're not going to be this, you're not going to be that. I say, heck, you can do what you love outside of work, and that way you don't burn yourself out by doing what you love. Certainly, you can do that for your job as well. But realize if you're incredibly passionate about something, maybe it's tennis, maybe it's skiing, maybe it's poetry, and you're doing that on your off hours and you schedule it in so you're actually getting it done, then you can be charged throughout the rest of the day. Superpowers also come. So that was number 3, doing what you're passionate about. Number 4, superpowers come by giving yourself time and permission to breathe. We've talked about it a little bit in the past, how we're reevaluating everything this summer. Big part of it is looking at how many interviews we're doing, who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing, what the format looks like, and we're putting it, how frequently we air shows, we're putting it all on the table, saying what serves us best, what's best for our audience. But to do that, we've had to step back and hit the pause button on our interviews temporarily. Don't worry, we have a great backlog, but we had to pause in order to be able to step back, let the universe chase us down, and be able to hear what we need to hear, and also be able to muddle our way through. When you step back, like for Jessica and myself, we can talk about things. We can arm wrestle about things, or worse. We can get stressed out. We can meditate. We can write. We can fight gently, lovingly. Part of the creative process is you get a lot of energy going. People to deal with that energy differently. Some people hibernate. Some people go quiet. Other people want a boxing bag. Punching bag. I was talking about that earlier today. And for myself, I went out and tried to go for a ride. It rained on me. And I took my energy out by mowing the lawn in between rain showers. But you might find you have a lot of creative angst. You need to give yourself the time, the space, and the permission for that to come out to see what's on the other side. So we get to pause, make room, schedule in, and allow the discomfort. It was something I was talking about my coaches in training, now coaches this weekend, was talking about relationships. And whenever somebody comes to me with a relationship challenge, unless it's an abusive situation, in which case I want to get them out yesterday. But if not, I actually want them to dive in deeper into the relationship with everything that they have, get both feet into the relationship, fully commit to it. And either it blows up or it works out. But it's from diving in fully or diving into the fear, diving into the discomfort. That's what we're talking about here. By giving yourself time to breathe, to find your superpowers, you have to hit pause and you have to be willing to dive into whatever you find there. Next, superpowers come by growing your confidence. The more you put yourself out there, the better you feel. And it's a cycle, not a vicious cycle, a very positive cycle. The more that you challenge yourself, you put yourself out there. Let's just say, actually, there's a couple here that win these races called ski mountaineering, where they run up the hill on skis with a sticky skin on the bottom of it, peel off the sticky skin, a mole skin. It's not actually from a mole, it's like velvet. And then they race down the hill on their skis to do it to the next hill. And there's this one amazing athlete. If I get her name right, it is Jessie Young. And what Jessie Young's father has told me is when she first did her first race, she finished last. But then she kept at it and she got a little bit better, felt a little more confident, did it again, did a little bit better, felt a little bit more confident, did it again, and so forth and so on. until she's in the world championships doing incredibly well each year. It wasn't that she was so strong to begin with. It wasn't that she was that confident to begin with. Far from it. She'd never tried this before. She just kept putting herself out there. So when you say, I don't have confidence, it's sort of like saying, I can't throw a free throw in basketball. Of course you can't until you practice. And in the beginning, it's not going to go in 10 out of 10 times, probably no matter how talented you are. It might go in 1 out of 10 times or 1 out of 20 times. But you keep yourself going. And that confidence grows. It's why with my coaches this weekend, we did a lot of practice work and a lot of review. Review is so key. I was calling them post-mortems. I couldn't come up with a better word, which is I would sit in on a coaching session, see how it goes, and then the whole group of us would get together and talk about it afterwards. That review can be so powerful for you because it helps you to gauge where you're at, how you did, where you can improve, and that helps you grow your superpowers. And in this case, by having other people's eyeballs on it, it gave you a different vantage point as well. And many times, the more eyeballs you have in the game, the easier it is to see your blind spots and discover your superpowers. So 5 is growing your confidence. 6 is seeing the world from new vantage points. So we did one really fun thing. Actually, we did a bunch of fun things this weekend. Retreats with us are not going to be all work. They're going to be a lot of play. And so we went to the Mountain Festival in Carbondale, Colorado. And not only was there a bunch of different food to try, and to be honest, I got to eat the festival winning chocolate cake and hopefully it was a prize winning moon pie. Oh my God, that moon pie was so divine that I was pretty much sweetened out before I even got to the chocolate cake. But they had their dozens, if not hundreds, of different artists and artist vendors. And to me, that was actually the most important thing of this, was going there and looking at all of the different art and the different mediums and the way people expressed their creativity through different mediums. So for instance, Jessica's been falling in love with watercolor painting lately. And so we went to an art fair in Aspen serendipitously last weekend. We got to this event this weekend. And I've enjoyed watching her see all the different watercolor artists, not just watercolor, acrylic, oils, you name it. But the light goes off as she looks at the art through other people's eyes and sees what is possible. When we work with a medium, myself, when I work with my medium of art, that's known as stick figures, all I know is how to do stick figures. If I could see another possibility, if somebody not just looking at it, but somebody helped me get started on it, I bet there's a lot more. It's hard for me to admit, but I bet there's a lot more that I could do with painting than just stick figures. But I need to see what is possible. Seeing people do this work can also really light a fire under our butt. So Saturday morning, I drove up to the lodge where all of our coaches were staying below this 14,000-foot peak. And there are all these runners running up the road behind my house on this 14-mile running race. And I was chomping at the bit to join them in the race. Obviously, I couldn't do it this weekend, but actually, I'm not trained well enough, I believe, to do it yet, which gets into something we'll be talking about later, which has to do with health. But watching them participate, watching and seeing how they were doing, got me uncomfortable and supercharged in a new way. So look for people doing what you do, particularly successful people. They will help you to light a fire under your butt. And you'll watch all these different runners, you'll watch all these different painters, these different athletes, these different dancers, whatever it is. You'll say, wow, I can do that too. So that's number 6. That's superpowers coming from seeing new vantage points. Number 7, superpowers come from taking new classes. So we've had group coaching classes in the past. We just had our coaches in training program, and we're going to be having another one. I can't say if we're going to have one at the end of this year or whether it's or in the fall or the beginning of next year, but we will have one eventually. But a class that challenges you, whether it's a coaching program, whether it's an art class, whether it's even basket weaving. And I say even basket weaving because Jessica signed up for a basket weaving class earlier this year. She had it about a month ago. And I think it was one of the favorite classes that she took. And I encouraged her. We just found, I thought I had the calendar up here. We just found in the newspaper that the catalog hadn't got to our house. And we had a newspaper article that showed us, or printing advertisement, that showed us all the different classes coming up for art. And from Colorado Mountain College. And I encouraged her to take as many classes as she wants. Why? Because seeing things from different angles, seeing things from different people, and being challenged in those classes, it won't just open her up to watercolor. Why, if she's interested in watercolor, would you take basket weaving? Because her heart shines, her heart opens up. She sees the world in a different place. And who's to say that she won't take some of that line design and patterning from baskets and bring it back to her painting? For myself, hasn't fit in with the schedule yet, but I want to take singing lessons. Michael, are you a singer? No. Do you have intention in being a singer? Well, actually, that'd be kind of fun, but not at the moment. But I work with my voice. I work with my voice on a daily basis. And so learning new ways to use my voice can probably help me to reach you, my audience, even better and touch or play your heartstrings. And so taking different classes, we have no idea. Oh, do we have a treat for you? Did you bring a watercolor too? Could you do that? Could you do that? Show and tell. Okay, I've got to scroll down here so people can see. I need to be able to see. Jessica made this. She made this all by herself. Look at the pattern. Look at how she did that. Look at how she wrapped this thing all around here and the weave on here and the handles and everything. She made this entirely by herself. And not only will this become a fantastic kitty bed over time, but this right here goes into this right here. And that makes a tremendous difference. Now she is running for a watercolor painting. Ooh, do we have a treat for you? What do we have? What do we have? And this is painting number what out of your entire collection?
One.
This was her first watercolor.
Oh, two.
Oh, no. Second watercolor ever. You never know what's going to happen until you put yourself out there. Can we see the turtle yet? The work in progress?
This was one, but it's not finished.
So this is number one. It's not finished. And she's working on bringing that turtle out, bringing that turtle to life. And it is just amazing. It's amazing what you discover when you put yourself out there. It's amazing what happens when you say, I don't know. I'm an empty vessel. I'm an empty basket. Let me put myself out there and see what happens. And so I want to challenge you to do that because you have no idea what your superpowers are until you step out there and see. And so that's number 7. Superpowers come from taking new classes. Number 8, superpowers comes from involving others. So we're best-selling authors of a couple books, Barefoot Running, and I guess before that for myself, College Confidence with ADD. We have another book, Barefoot Walking, many years ago, almost a decade ago or more at this point. And tomorrow we meet with an editor. Woohoo! Because we're coming up with an Inspire Nation series of books based on our interviews and based on a lot of what I teach you here. And so tomorrow we meet, actually, I guess it's not an editor. We meet with a publisher, a publishing house tomorrow, which is one step closer to this book series taking place. Now, here's the thing. I'm nervous about the meeting. I'm not nervous about the meeting because of whether the book publisher says yes or no. In fact, I think they've already said yes. although there'd be a lot of details to figure out. I'm nervous because I don't know exactly what this looks like. What do these books look like? How are they going to be compiled? How are they going to come together? What do the rights look like? How do we do any of the steps of the puzzle? It's scary. And that is awesome. Because I'm going to lean into that fear. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Da, 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 da. And guess what? I'm collecting information. And that's a lot of what we do when we speak with others, particularly when we speak with others who are pros in their field. Speaking to your friends can be good. Speaking to your loved ones, family, can be very dangerous. But when you speak to somebody in the know in your field, don't let them squash your dreams, because one person is not have the answer for something that's coming for your heart. But you can do some important information gathering and see things from a different perspective. So I'm going to get a lot of clarity tomorrow as I literally stumble across. I'm sure question number 1 or question number 2, I'm going to be like, I don't know. And number 3, I might feel a little bit smaller. I don't know. And by question number 4, I'm going to be like, oh my God, yep, I didn't think of that. I don't know. But I have confidence. I've written before. I have almost 1,200 shows under my belt. I know we've got this. And so I can learn. And my ego may feel really, really small. I may feel like a little kid in the corner in the principal's office for a few minutes. I might not. I don't know, my energy is pretty good right now. I might not. But even if I do, I'm collecting information. And so that's number 8. Superpowers come from involving and asking others. Of course, this can especially mean, I'm biased here, but getting yourself a coach. It can mean getting yourself a mentor as well. Somebody that can be your guide, who can hold out that lantern before you and illuminate your way. Number 9, superpowers come from breaking down barriers. And I'm not necessarily going to put Jessica on air, but did I have a barrier breaking down or even a scar tissue breaking down evening last night? Didn't I?
Yeah.
So she is nodding and saying,
Can they see the massage table?
Yes. Can they see the massage table? Maybe marginally, but not really. It's at almost the exact height. So there is a massage table in the background there. And we had one of our coaches in training, now coaches. She's a Chinese medicine doctor and acupuncturist. And so she was turning me into a human pincushion last night to break up stuck energy and get that energy flowing, breaking down barriers. And then Denise, one of our dearest friends in the world, who is the most amazing, I can't even do justice to what she does. She does myofascial release. She does cranial sacral therapy. She does a deep tissue massage. She does work with tuning forks on your body and frequency work. She does aromatherapy, and on it goes. And we were gifted and honored to have her here for this retreat. And we're going to have her for all future retreats, is my hope and goal. And last night we traded sessions, and in her session with me, she did a treatment, or I don't even know if we can call it massage, that was, shall we say, grisly at best. I do have all sorts of bruises all over myself from her digging in, also from a unique form of cupping that she does. Can I pull up my shirt, the back, and show people? Would that be a little bit too weird?
It's your show.
Let's see here, everybody. Can you tell me, just see if they can see it? I can't even see it.
They can see it.
They can see it?
Yep.
So get a good look at that back there.
All right. I think they get the truth.
That felt worse than it looks. And what she was doing was she was helping break up scar tissue and breaking down barriers to get the energy flowing, to get things unstuck, to get the fascial tissue to go back to where it belongs, to let go of the skin, to let go of the muscle, and to get everything moving again. So we get to break down our barriers. That can literally come from deep tissue massage. It can also come from doing things like a motion code or similar release techniques like I was using last night as well. And with things like EFT tapping as well, where we lean into the emotional blocks and help break down the barriers that are there as well. So that's number 9. Superpowers come from breaking down barriers. Number 10, superpowers come from getting your body moving. So a commitment I made to myself this past week, as I have been getting so stiff, and I'm told a lot of it is coming from past injuries and things, not just sitting in the chair, but also some from stress with the show, is I've committed to trying to do an hour a day of walking or running moving forward. It's something I used to do many hours a day when I had my dogs Pumpkin and Sawa. We ran hours in the morning, hours in the evening, every single day. And I have set it as a goal for myself because I was looking at Jessica challenged me and asked me, this goes back to involving others. I'm getting a coach. She's my greatest coach. She challenged me to write down, what's my perfect day? What do I want my perfect day to look like? And I don't have all the answers to it yet. I get to take more time with it. But what I learned is my priorities were flip-flopped. I had work, family, health, rather than health, family, work. And so I am committing that by the end of the year, I would like to get back to 2 to 3 hours a day of physical movement each and every day. When I met Jessica, I had a lot more than that and so much energy to spare. In essence, the more I moved, and the more you move as well, because we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. Don't forget that. We get to take care of this rent-a-body, rent-a-meat suit. We get to take care of this amazing space vehicle that we are each gifted with to go through this 3D reality. And the better care you take of it, and the more that you get it moving, the more your energy is moving, and the more superpowers you have. So that's number 10. Superpowers come from getting your body moving. 11, and we've got just a few more. Superpowers come in from diving into yourself. What does that mean? Well, processes like journaling and morning pages can help. Processes like automatic writing, and I'm hugely biased because I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and it's completely changed our lives. Automaticwriting.com, shameless plug right there, give you a third-person process of viewing your life, of getting outside of your own vessel, from your own perspective, and seeing the world from a new, higher perspective or higher vantage points that becomes kind of the universal observer of your life and can help point out your blind spots. So dive into yourself each and every day with a process like automatic writing to see what comes up and see what you can learn about yourself. So that's number 11. Superpowers come from diving into yourself. Number 12, superpowers come from bathing yourself in love. When's the last time you told yourself you loved yourself and really meant it? And I do this a lot. I could do this probably 10 times more. I had the acupuncturist last night. She looked at my tongue, not going to stick out my tongue on camera, and found there was a crack. Jessica, what does this even look like? A cracked tongue?
You've got like a crease in the middle of your tongue.
Okay.
That goes up like the length of your tongue.
And that apparently means, thank you, that apparently means that I had some sort of trauma or sadness.
You had heartbreak as a child, and she said it's actually quite rare to see.
Oh,
so you're special.
I am special. I had a lot of heartache or break as a child. And so I get to say, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. When's the last time you did that with yourself, or gave yourself a massage, in this case, a gentle massage, or a self massage, a foot massage, or even an Epsom salt bath? Realize the more you pamper yourself rather than push yourself, and there's a balance. I've got to be honest. After this weekend, I'm going, I want to do this, I want to do that. We get to make these changes. We get to make changes I don't even know of. And that young side of me really wants to take over and get her done. unfortunately, I don't know what the getter done is to get done. And that requires the yin side of going quiet and listening. Certainly I can go pound the pavement for a few miles. I can go, ride the bicycle to get out some energy. I can go mow the lawn if that's what it takes. But ultimately, at some point, I have to go quiet and go, all right, universe, where do I go from here? Or the Jessica, can we sit down and let's look like we need somebody to run our YouTube show? Can we look at all the possibilities and see what comes to us? But all of that comes as secondary or tertiary to pampering yourself. The more you pamper yourself rather than push yourself, the more energy you find in reserve and the more power you have to take action. So that's number 12. Superpowers come from bathing yourself with love. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. Last two, should see this one coming. Superpowers come from meditation. The more time that we take to step back, pause, be with the breath, be with the moment, be with ourselves, the more everything changes. So I want to encourage you each and every morning, or if you really don't have the time, such as you have really young kids and just giving them the bottom and putting in the crib isn't going to do it, then in the evening after they go to sleep, take time to meditate and then go to automatic writing each and every day. You can also go to imeditations.com, which we'll be having shortly. So many great meditations for you. Right now, go to inspiredationshow.com and you can get signed up to get free meditations once it comes out. Lastly, so that's superpowers. Number 13, superpowers come from meditation. Last but not least, it's kind of like a double bonus here, gratitude. The more you're grateful for what you have. So when I start a coaching session, you may have heard me say this before, I always ask my clients, wait, before you tell me that, give me something positive. The more you look for something positive in the day, the more positive things you find come your way. The more things you look for positive in the day, the more positive things you find come your way. It's so true. When you stay in that place of gratitude, you find more things to be grateful for. And that just may be the greatest superpower of them all. So with that said, I'm going to open it up to questions. First, I'm going to ask the Jessica off camera because she asked for me not to put her on camera unless she wanted to be, because she, oh my God, pulled off a miracle of miracles with this retreat this weekend. And I think she got body work till like 1:30 in the morning. So she is recovering and running the chat. But I want to see, is there anything you wanted to add? A huge nod, no, that she is good on the chat room. But do we have any questions? No questions. Not a question from anyone out there. Do we want questions?
I could take a nap.
She could take a nap. So I want to see if people have some questions. If not, we're going to wrap this thing up early and we're going to put Jessica to bed.
Oh, Romy asked, what kind of water should I drink? I hear some water is bad.
So, Romy, that's a beautiful question. The worst water is no water. Tap water, as a general rule, if it's coming from a city water supply, depending on the city, may not be that great. We're not so much fans. We followed this whole trend of acidic versus basic water. We're not too much in that basic camp. It doesn't really seem natural to the body. But we're open and don't pretend to be the experts on this. So let me say that. We're not doctors. We don't play them on TV. I would think spring water, the more alive, the better you can. If you have a natural source where you can fill up jugs, that's awesome. Fill up, ideally, glass containers. I think that is so important to get away from plastic, get away from water bottles, particularly the ones with disposable plastic. Not only are they incredibly unhealthy for the environment and for the planet, but they carry hormone disruptors. And so oftentimes people will find themselves obese, will find themselves with fertility challenges, will find themselves with heart disease, where they're doing everything right and doing everything but from the book. And it may just well be, I think they call them endocrine hormone disruptors. We've actually had a guest or two on the show about this. So get away from plastic and water doing a dance together. Your body will thank you for it. The environment will thank you for it. And I would add minerals to it. So we're not paid by her at all, but we love Dr. Carolyn Dean's Remag and Remite, magnesium and minerals to put into the water. Magnesium has over 800 known chemical and hormonal processes in the body, and we're almost all magnesium deficient. In fact, Jessica might put up a link for how to tell if you're magnesium deficient. And so we put that in our water at least once a day. I am a huge hydrator. I started a month or two ago. I've always drank a lot of water, but a month or two ago, I started a challenge and more or less drink a gallon of water a day. Do I feel better for it? Yes. Does it make me the healthiest guy on the planet? No. It's just one piece of the puzzle is my guess. And I make sure that I get a lot of minerals in there so I am not actually putting the system out of balance. Could I be drinking too much water? I'm honestly not the best expert on it. I know Dr. Timothy Noakes, who we had on one of the earliest shows, he is the reason that there are water stations at all marathons and races today. And he actually found that people were hurting themselves by over-hydrating themselves in races. But that was before people discovered salt tablets and were trying to get their electrolytes in balance. And no, electrolytes do not mean corn syrup colored drinks that claim to be healthy for you. All right, do we have a next question?
Yes, we have a great question from Brave Skull, who writes, I'm really shy and really struggle with social anxiety. I try to put myself out there, but I don't know if I'm making any progress. Do you have any suggestions?
First off, Brave Skull, and first off, for everybody, keep the questions coming, because as soon as the questions end, we're ending for the night. Get Jessica to sleep early. With that said, at Brave Skull, I never would have guessed that, because you make so many awesome comments in here, and your hellos and your enthusiasm. So really, Brave Skull, I never, ever, ever would have thought that you have challenges with this. This doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with having these challenges. We all of us, I promise you, myself especially, we all have different challenges. So what I would do, Brave Skull, is put yourself out there in situations that you enjoy. So for instance, around here, we have some amazing rivers. If you like whitewater rafting, find a meetup that does rafting, or a meetup group that does hiking, or a meetup group, you can see where I'm going, that does poetry. Or you can get yourself, if you're really brave, into a Toastmasters program. And I believe they're free. I could be wrong, but Toastmasters are all across the country, if not all around the world, which practice, this is going to scare you, please forgive me, public speaking. And the people who go there are terrified of public speaking. And so you will find other like-minded souls to practice. It could be going to a church, a synagogue, a temple, a teepee. I'm not joking about that. I actually found my way back into spirituality and to God's source universe from sweat lodges in the Navajo Nation. So it could be getting yourself involved with like-minded people going down the spiritual path. It could be literally being a wallflower go to your local crystal shop, find upcoming spiritual author events, just be a wallflower in the back, and eventually you'll see similar people who are there who you've seen at the last event and seen at the last event, and you'll start to get to know them. Or simply challenge yourself. For instance, Brave Skull, if you go to the gym, and if not, I recommend join a gym. If you go to the gym, say hi to one new person a day, or even one new person a week. And it's interesting. I was noticing, where was I? Oh, I was at the Mountain Fest on Saturday, where I made friends with everybody at the table. It was just a random picnic table. And before the end, I was starting to know all of their life stories. The family who came from Florida for the wedding, it rained beforehand. They got the double rainbow. The in-laws who came from Peru, their daughter who was working on, can't remember exactly the program it is now, but her husband owns 2 businesses, one of them for a travel company, the second one for window washing. And all of that came because I literally just turned to them and said, hi, I'm Michael. Who are you? So practice putting yourself out there and asking, What are you doing? What's your name? Or the simplest thing is just to introduce yourself and allow them to introduce themselves. Is it scary? Yes, Brave Skull. But I love your name, Brave. Brave is right there in your name, which means you have it in you. You just get to challenge yourself. But I recommend challenging yourself in situations where you have a spark, a light, an interest, a passion. That will make it easier. Last choice, join a fitness class. Over time, you can't help but get to know everybody in class, even if you don't try. Because once you become familiar with others, you become family. And as family, the barriers drop. So I support you on this. I love you, Brave Skull, and keep us posted on this. Do we have a next question?
Nope.
All right. Is there any, no, she is very exhausted. So we're going to call it good early here this evening. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be back regularly scheduled time and challenge next week with a hopefully on fire Pookie, which it's now here in Rocky Mountain time, 6:08. And I hope that we can put her straight to bed from here. We send all our love your way. Again, if you got signed up at inspirenationshow.com/coaching and we didn't respond to you, or you're even calling us on Skype, you know who you are, and we're not picking up, we apologize. Our system was a little bit cattywampus this past week. We're doing what we can, but it does mean we have a few openings, very few openings left for the end of the summer and possibly for the fall. So sign up for a free one-on-one strategy session right now. And be sure to come on over to patreon.com /Inspire Nation and come join the Inspire Nation family, become what we call a Backstage Pass member. It is your love and support that help keep this show free and help keep it going strong. Love you guys so much. Wish you the most beautiful evening ahead and week ahead, and above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woohoo! And before I click off, I'm seeing if there's a kitty for a cameo, but I'm not seeing one, and so we will let everybody go. Love you guys.